It's just another Shark-Man podcast.
Hello and welcome to Just Another Shark-Man podcast, your chance to plug into all the latest news, movies and events in the Shark-Man film franchise. It's our 349th episode. My name's Jack and I'm here with this boy. He's bright and fresh, he's ready for the new year.
He?
It's Fergus!
Yes, he is. Hello.
When I say that, Ferg, you're also looking quite tired.
No, I'm feeling very tired. I mean, I pushed through it. I just sort of...
Me too. Because we just came back from the Shark-Man Studios Keynote.
3 days.
3 whole days we took off the podcast.
Yep.
We had New Year there. And now we're back.
It's going to be great.
New year, new podcast.
And what's great is the podcast is going to be all new and exactly the same.
Oh, I can't wait, Fergus. I can't wait. It's just another year. It's another year of doing the same exact stuff.
Oh my god. Oh, we made this podcast every day. This is who I am.
So, Ferg, new year, new podcast. And Ferg, what I thought we should do.
Yeah.
I think we should tell the listeners about what we're going to be doing in the new year.
Yeah.
You know, the changes for Shark-Man Studios.
Yeah.
The changes for you and I in our lives, which are some big changes coming up.
Yeah.
And the changes for our nightmare world at large.
Absolutely. We've got some great new stuff happening on the podcast and we're really excited to tell you all about it.
We're ready to fill you up with content. We're just going to stuff you with content like a turkey.
So, before we move on to talk about the keynote...
Oh, I can't wait to talk about the keynote.
We just want to say a big hello to all our new listeners.
So many new listeners. I
I
can't believe it, Ferg.
As I'm sure you all know, one of the episodes we recorded a couple of weeks ago before New Year, we had Chris from Chris and Chris podcast. He was on the podcast, and we got in a bit of a fight with him, a bit of a spat, a bit of a beef.
And I cut off his fucking hand.
And Jack cut off his hand in a duel.
Yeah, I did.
And since then, that episode got so many people listening, so many of Chris's fans, and obviously, you know, it sort of caused a rift between us and Chris, and there's a lot of drama, and I at first was kind of worried that it would reflect negatively on us. But then we got a memo from our old co-host, Will, who of course...
He's stuck in prison,
He's
basically.
stuck in prison.
He'll get out soon, though.
He won't. And he's been helping us from prison because, of course, since we lost him, the podcast's been declining. And what he said was...
he said, play the hate, guys.
Yeah.
He said, play the hate. And
he said people love a big public beef between podcasters. So we've been playing it up. And you've all been flocking to the podcast. And now, suddenly, we're really successful.
Yeah, because we're just playing it like we're big drama queens and we hate Chris.
So, keep listening if you want to hear more about that beef with Chris. Fuck Chris.
Fuck Chris.
Fuck Chris and Chris. I'm just going to play the sting.
Fuck Chris.
Yeah. We're kind of... like I say, we've been talking with Will, and we're looking at cultivating this new image of like we're the bad boys of podcasting.
We're so bad.
Yeah, and we're like rebels, and it's like we cut off Chris's hand.
I bought a leather jacket.
And it looks great.
It's got Shark-Man on it. Smell that.
Is that
Yeah.
cow leather?
No.
No. Dog leather?
No.
Shark leather.
100% genuine shark hide.
Does that hurt?
Yeah. There's not very much. It's a very little jacket as well.
Well, shark leather is very rare now. Ever since because obviously we'll talk about that in another podcast.
I'm quite tired, Ferg.
Yeah, just tired of life.
Oh no, I meant I'm tired after the 3 days we spent at the keynote.
Oh, absolutely.
It was weird having the break though, Ferg. I know it's always weird having the break.
Yeah.
The 3 day break is so strange.
I actually made a podcast anyway, because basically if I'd actually gone 3 days without making a new podcast every day, my brain would have just freaked out and shut down.
It just melted.
So I just went in our room where we were staying.
Yeah, the shipping containers.
Yeah, every night I would just open up my laptop and just record, get the mic out and just record a 30-minute podcast of just me, just going through the motions of it, just so my brain didn't get confused.
Well, I slept right through that, Ferg. Did you whisper it? You whispered that into the mic, didn't you?
Yeah, I just me whispering for half an hour every night into a microphone.
Oh.
And there are a lot of people who use that thing where in the evening and at night your screen goes yellow, so you can go to sleep earlier. But I absolutely not. The blue glare. I had the laptop right in front of lying in bed, right in front of my face. I live for that blue glare, Jack. Almost as much as Shark-Man. The blue glare is who I am.
Listeners, if you can hack Ferg's laptop and get hold of that, Some exclusive content
That
for
will
you.
be some exclusive content.
Oh, those shipping containers were just like so surprisingly nice.
Oh my god, so good.
Oh,
So like compact and practical.
so small, fit us both in there, not much room for anything else. So dark so you could sleep.
Yeah.
Best thing about the shipping containers, Ferg. Best thing about the shipping containers, ours was so high up.
Oh yeah.
You had to climb through so many different people's beds.
Yeah.
The hole in the middle of their beds. Up through the ladder.
There's just a ladder that went. So it was just 10, 100, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Shipping containers stacked on top of each other, and just a hole in the ceiling and floor of all of them that lined up.
Yeah.
And you just went up a ladder through them.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was the system. And it was just so like dangerous and exciting.
And cool to see what other people were getting up to in their rooms.
Yeah.
And you got to meet all these different interesting people in each of the containers. So I met loads of Sharkman fans.
Yeah.
That was basically it, really.
Yeah. I met a lot of Sharkman fans. So it was a Sharkman event.
Yeah.
So everyone who was there was...
They liked Sharkman.
They liked Sharkman.
And we talked about Sharkman.
Yeah.
Ferg, what I'd like to know
Yeah.
is, did those secret episodes that you recorded in your bed late at night,
Yes.
do they count as to the total number of episodes we've recorded? I.e., does the number that we say at the beginning of an episode
Yeah.
as to how many episodes we've done,
Yeah.
does that actually link up with the date? So would the maths work? Say someone listened to it once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Would
if
the
they were
maths-
only listening to the episodes we release, say, every other Saturday.
Right. Would the maths link up? Would they be able to say, oh yeah, 14 days have passed, so 14 more episodes?
I would say that the maths absolutely check out, but people shouldn't look into it. Listeners, you should just trust me on it.
Much like the financial papers for Sharkman 2. So, Keynote, as is tradition, lasts 3 days. First day, you get really excited. You go down to the conference centre.
Yeah.
They stick you behind barbed wire. You're all in this big group. You're all cheering.
Yeah.
You're all excited.
Yeah.
And then the Sharkman Studios CEO, he rides on a little bike. Little tiny tricycle. And of course, everyone just starts screaming their heads off. Everyone starts pushing and shoving.
Yeah.
And like, I was at the front. I'm getting like pushed into the barbed wire a bit.
Yeah.
And, my clothes are tearing. I'm getting some little pinpricks on my chest and my arms.
Yeah, I was just like flailing my arms in the air, screaming.
But you were really well protected, Ferg, weren't you? You
Yes.
don't really like crowds.
No.
Why don't you tell the listeners what you did to stay safe in the Sharkman Keynote crowd?
Eight coats. I wore 8 coats.
You wore 8 coats. You were like a little muffin.
So the Sharkman Studio CEO, while we're all doing our whole like mass hysteria thing, he is popping wheelies. He's like doing little skids, and every now and again he's just going, yeah.
Woo, yeah!
Yeah!
Oh, I just loved it, Ferg. I loved it. I was scratched by the barbed wire, but I loved it. He did about 2 slides and 3 wheelies in the first 2 minutes.
Oh yeah.
And then what happens is we keep screaming all day, and he just rides around in a little circle.
Yeah.
He's so big for that tricycle.
It's just like that scene from the third Dr. Dinosaur film.
When Dr. Dinosaur walks into a human cafe instead of going to the dinosaur
And
cafe.
he's so big in
Oh,
the chairs.
what a
He's got his
stupid
little
mistake.
arms. But he's still a top scientist, and that's a big part of his character.
Second day, we're up at the barriers again.
Yep.
Ferg's got another coat on.
Yep.
He's like a little snowball man.
Yep.
He can't move his arms. He's got 8 pairs of trousers on as well. Can't move his legs.
No.
You have to roll him about
Yeah.
like a starfish.
Yeah, I'd like to say that was fun. Wasn't.
You got so hot.
Most of the time I was in there, I was passed out.
I had to stick some bellows down there and pump.
I was just, basically, there were 2 ways of looking at this. One, I was a man wearing several coats.
Yeah.
A conscious, existing man with wearing several coats.
Oh, yes.
The other way of looking at it
Yeah.
is that simply I was an unconscious thing trapped in a sphere of cloth that was rolled around by my friend and co-host Jack.
Sharkman Studios CEO comes up to the stage.
Yep.
Gets off the tricycle.
Finally.
Walks over to the mic.
Yep.
He says the word Sharkman. Everybody cheers. Everybody screams.
I
Everyone
pass
goes
out
crazy.
again, yep.
Another day.
Another day passes.
Third day.
Yep.
He clicks the PowerPoint.
Ooh.
Boom.
Boom.
All 8,000 pieces of content coming out this year, Ferg.
Yep. Films.
Books.
TV shows.
Streaming content.
Fiction podcasts.
Little tiny rubbers with Sharkman written on them.
Stage plays.
Concept albums.
Video games.
And a new painting to be added to the Louvre. And the Sharkman Studio CEO, he said, the film's going to be longer, but they're also going to be shorter.
They're going to be better, but they're also going to be worse. They're going to be fun, more dark,
And more fun.
And more fun.
And he said all the films that are coming out, they're going to be more dark and they're going to be more fun.
Mm-hmm. And it's about taking the franchise in a direction where things are a little bit darker and a little bit more fun.
And what he was saying as well, Ferg, and I don't know if everyone picked up on this, Ferg,
Yeah.
but he was also saying that if it's that for every bit of darkness,
Yeah.
there's also going to be a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
So when it's a bit dark,
Yeah.
there's also going to be a little fun joke.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like taking these films and just because up until now they've been a bit dark and they've been a bit fun, but it's about making them quite kind of fun and just kind of dark.
Yeah.
And
he just wanted to be clear that this is true for every single film coming out this year.
Yeah.
So it's not like one film's going to be more fun, another film's going to be more dark.
Every film is going to be fun and dark.
Yes, more fun and more dark.
More dark and more fun.
Sorry, yeah, more dark and more fun. Ferg, but the thing I'm really bursting to talk about is I want to talk about all the things they talked about in the keynote.
Yeah, so we're just going to take you through, I'm sure you've seen all of them, we're just going to take you through our highlight listeners of some of the films that were announced this year.
Top five films on Jack and Ferg's
Oh god,
list.
it's so hard to even pick a top five, particularly because we haven't even seen them yet.
Okay, so in at number 5.
In at number 5, Shark-Man, locker room fight. We know what it's going to be. We've been waiting for years.
Shark-Man
Shark-Man and his mates
absolutely naked
in a locker room, whipping each other with towels. Whip. Just like at school.
It's going to be brilliant.
In at number 4, bad dogs living in the sewers.
And we can only guess what's going to be in
franchise.
that. We only can guess, but my guess, Ferg, is that there's going to be some bad doggies.
Yep.
They're going to be in the sewers. Rah, rah, rah.
Oh my god, that was just I wasn't too hyped for it, but then when you did that little out noise, like a dog do that noise, now I'm excited.
Oh, I'm so excited. In at number 3.
And I was almost tempted to put this at number 2 actually. Jack.
Were you, Ferg?
Yeah, but then you
didn't.
It's again another new franchise for the Shark-Man universe.
Oh,
another new series.
I cannot wait.
It is. Oh my god, they're finally doing a hard-hitting neo-noir cyberpunk western. It's going to be 9 hours long, and it's all about Sharkman's ugliest nephew.
But it's also, Ferg, what's exciting is it's also a sequel to Flip Flop the Dolphin.
And it's called Flip Flop the Dolphin too.
Okay, number 2. We're in at number 2.
In at number 2, Picasso gets what he deserves. I don't know if you guys know this dude. I don't know if you guys know this
Famous historical villain.
He would do paintings, but they wouldn't look like real shit. He would do paintings and they would look weird, and it's like, what's the point of this? Why are you not making a thing that is real, that is a thing that I understand logically, like real life? I don't understand. And he's just this horrible dude.
And so what happens is Sharkman just jumps through a time portal, probably kills him.
I mean, what he deserves, obviously, we know that's got to end in death.
Yeah.
But what the whole movie leads up to, we don't know. It'll be really interesting.
Do they
but
become friends for a moment? Just putting it out there, Ferg.
Ooh, that would be a bit dark for Sharkman.
Dark and fun.
Dark and fun, though. But I do think it's really important for Shark-Man Studios to be making these films where we are really confronting these historical evils and taking these figures from history and not lauding them and not building statues to them. But we're actually taking these people who did things
that were
like
bad.
create impressionist works of art.
And take them down.
Yeah, and destroy them.
And in at number 1, Ferg, the thing we've all been waiting for, we finally got the title for Sharkman 9. Now, as you listeners know, we've been fighting about it. We've literally hurt people because they disagreed with us. I thought it was going to be called Sharkman 9, Sharkman becomes the mayor.
And I was absolutely certain it was going to be Sharkman, danger, 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 danger.
But you know what? You know what happened? You know what happened, guys?
Yep.
Turned out we just made a mistake. We all made a mistake.
Yep.
Apparently, they had already announced the title because it doesn't have a subtitle.
Yeah.
It's just called Sharkman 9.
Yeah.
So we've known the title all along.
Yeah.
Big reveal. So what they did, they had the logo on the keynote. They had the bottom of it blacked out, so you couldn't see what the title was going to be.
Yeah.
And then that black line disappeared, and there was nothing there.
Nothing. We thought we expected something. We built a huge amount of our personalities and our time and energy recently around it, and then it dissolved, and it turned out at its heart was a void.
Needless to say, everyone just cheered so loudly when that happened. And they were just losing their minds. It was amazing.
It was brilliant.
And after he'd spoken through all of that content, he'd explained it all. It took 24 hours.
Yeah.
After that, he just said, "There's one thing I'd like to say before I go."
Yeah.
We were like, "What is it?"
What is it?
All in unison.
Yeah.
And then he just shouted, "Crabs!"
Yeah.
And then doors opened and thousands of crabs just ran at us.
Just stormed the
They
arena.
just ran at us. I got bitten on the toes. Ferg was totally safe.
Yeah, I was totally safe in my cocoon.
And what I had to do was I actually had to I had an advantage over some of the other
Yeah.
fans because I climbed on top of Ferg.
And you, like, ran on top
I
of
ran
me.
backwards on top of him, and
Yeah.
then we rolled out, crushing other people below us, crushing them into the crabs.
Yeah.
Luckily, I got some souvenirs though, Ferg.
Yep.
Box of crabs.
And on the podcast tomorrow, we're going to take one of the crabs and dress it up like Crab King. Going to do a sort of tutorial how to dress. If you got a crab from the event, how to dress it up like Crab King.
Oh, Ferg, I can't wait
yeah.
to find out which crab of this box of crabs is going to survive and
Yeah.
which ones we're going to kill and eat.
Absolutely.
Ferg, are you excited to finally taste what a crab tastes like?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You've barely had any foods.
No, only recently I've started sort of eating proper food.
Instead of grey protein bars.
Yeah, as I talked about in
the Christmas
10,
episode,
No,
yeah.
sorry, not episode 10, episode 228.
That's it. And Ferg, you've really amazed me. So you had some peas and carrots at Christmas.
Yep, and I had the dead.
The turkey.
Turkey.
You're gonna have crab, Ferg. But
Yeah.
what else have you had in the last 2 weeks on
Yeah,
your
I've been-
culinary journey?
Yeah, I had some bread, some brown bread.
Right.
I had a leaf from a tree. Mm-hmm. I had the bark from a tree.
Right.
I had some dirt from ground. I had a cat. I had a dog.
Just running around. They're
Yeah,
just running
both
around.
very. The hair is nice, but it's sort of it cloys in the mouth.
Oh, you shouldn't, Ferg.
Yeah.
All of those things, apart from bread,
Yeah.
don't eat again.
Oh, why not?
People might just think you're a bit funny, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
No, instead you should just continue to record this podcast daily and not really do anything else.
Yeah.
And after the crabs came, Ferg,
Yeah.
we got away.
Yeah.
We came home. You went back to your house. I went back to the laundrette, which I'm now staying at.
Yeah.
But we'll get onto that.
Yeah.
We're about to go to sleep. We check our phones. Oh, new bit of content.
Yeah.
New bit of content launched on the day of the keynote.
Yeah.
It's a Shark-Man choose your own story film.
So revolutionary.
Ugh, so good. So what I did was I immediately watched it and played it.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Also that.
Okay. And what's really cool is you can pick the way the story goes.
Yeah, exactly. It gets to a point and it's like, so the main plot of it concerns Prawn Boy, and so you get to a certain stage and it's like, should Prawn Boy go left or right? Should Prawn Boy swim in the sea or go for a walk? That sort of thing.
Yeah. And I was just hooked.
Yeah.
I was just hooked from the off, Ferg.
Yes.
But then it did something really clever.
Actually did something like really
clever.
Actually like clever with it.
So it really started to interrogate the format they was in, basically.
so clever.
So it starts and it's like, do you want to have a sweetie
Yeah.
or stick the sweetie up your nose?
Yeah, really clever.
really clever stuff like that. But then it starts to kind of interrogate its own format.
Yeah, so clever.
So what happens is gradually throughout the film,
So clever.
it starts to control you.
Yeah, so clever.
So initially, I was making little decisions for Prawn Boy, right?
Yeah.
But there's this point where Prawn Boy sits down
so clever.
at the telly and he starts to control you.
Yeah.
And he says, stand up, and you do stand up, and it's difficult to not stand up then. And then he says, go outside.
so clever.
And then you do physically go outside, you bring your TV with
yeah.
you, and you go outside and you're holding your TV and you stare
really
at it.
clever.
And then it's like, go hide loads of money in the garden.
Yeah,
And
so
you just
clever.
dig that hole. You just dig that hole and then you put the money in it.
Yeah,
And you bury that money again.
so clever.
And then what you do is you leave the hole alone.
Yeah.
But not before calling Shark-Man Studios and saying where the money is.
Yes.
And you go to the shops and then it says spend all your money on DVDs you already have. And you do that.
Yeah.
And you take them home, Ferg. You take them home and then you cuddle them to sleep.
Yep. And it's weird actually because obviously that's exactly what happened to me when I played it.
Yeah.
But before I sat down and played it and watched the film, that's exactly all of that is what I was going to do anyway. I was like, do I watch this film or do I do all that this evening? And I ended up doing both. Another thing I just wanted to touch on, Jack, before we go to an ad.
Oh, no, you're quite right. You're quite right. We do need to touch on this, Ferg.
Is as we've mentioned before on the podcast, Shark-Man Studios in their new studio lot they recently built, they're developing time travel
They're just
technology.
pouring cash into it. They're just pouring cash into this time travel hole.
And once they develop time travel, of course, the plan is to release more Shark-Man films in the past, completely change the timeline of our universe.
And that's great, because then there would have been more Shark-Man films that we'll have already seen. We won't even have to waste time going to the cinema and seeing seeing them.
Because you already watched them when you were 7.
Amazing, just amazing.
So he announced at the keynote that they finally done the first test. They went back, they haven't released any new films yet, but they went back to the Stone Age and they showed Shark-Man 3 to some cavemen.
So what they've done is they've appointed a captain brand historian, and her name is Theodora Lightning. And what she does is she's going to jump into the time rifts.
Yep.
She's going to show Sharkman films to different people.
Yeah.
She's going to kickstart the industry early. She's going to invent film in the 1700s.
Yeah.
Etc. etc.
And the results are already fantastic. There's already cave paintings from thousands, hundreds of thousands of years ago of the events of Sharkman 3.
Which is just so incredible, Ferg.
Yeah.
And you know what? What's amazing there is that because they changed history so far back,
Yeah.
there have been small details in my life that I've noticed have changed.
Yeah.
I used to be left-handed, now I'm right-handed.
Nice. Sharkman Studios, changing lives.
It's just amazing.
Now, meddling with time, of course. I'm completely on board with it.
Yeah.
When
Me too,
Sharkman
me too.
Studios are doing it.
Just FYI.
But just a one small thing I am slightly worried about. I'm slightly worried, Jack, that if Sharkman Studios keep meddling with time, in order to expand the reach of Sharkman Studios, I'm worried that something will go wrong at some point down the line, and that they'll accidentally undo themselves from history, and we'll end up living in a world where Sharkman Studios doesn't exist. You know, the timeline will somehow end up being this timeline where there were sort of other superhero films and other films, but not Sharkman Studios.
That's so silly, Ferg. That will never happen.
I know.
Right, well, I think we should go to our ad now.
Oh yes, and listeners, obviously we've got loads of new listeners, and that's great. But our listeners who have been with us for a while, as you remember, we used to be sponsored by Piss Crate, who are a great premium brand.
Brilliant. They send out crates of piss of the real Sharkman actors to your home.
Yeah, and then as the podcast was getting less downloads and just generally not doing that well towards the end of last year, we started having to sort of downgrade the people sponsoring us.
Yeah, so what was it? It was Piss Monthly.
It was Piss Monthly for a bit.
Oh, yeah, and that was the piss of the Sharkman actors, still
Yeah.
delivered to your house, but in a
Yeah, it
different
was just a less high premium brand.
Right, okay.
And then of course it ended up being piss.com.
Oh, and that's just piss.
They were just getting any piss they could find.
That's just worthless piss.
But now we're glad to say we're back on it with a premium ad.
Oh.
Here it is.
You watch Sharkman films for breakfast. You watch Sharkman films for lunch. You watch Sharkman films for dinner. But who's watching your children? You can't trust the teenager who lives next door. She's a murderer. She will kill them. Instead, why not put your little baby in a car, take it to our clinic, where we inject it with an aging serum. And then, quickly, over 24 hours, your baby will grow up into a healthy 18-year-old. Now, they can feed themselves, they can look after themselves, and you can keep watching those Sharkman films. I just love that ad so much. Right, listeners, we're back.
We're back.
And it's time for a couple life updates now. New year, new life.
So, as mentioned before, we've been getting a lot of advice from Will as to how to make the podcast better.
And one of the big things he keeps saying is that we need to have some hobbies to talk about on the podcast. You know, it can't just be Sharkman all the time.
Yeah.
It's got to be me, it's got to be Ferg, it's got to be what we're up to.
Yeah, particularly after the Christmas episode with Chris, where I sort of told everyone about how my life is entirely focused around this podcast and how it's just an obsession that grips me. And then
like,
Will was
relax.
saying,
Yeah.
that's a
Relax,
bit weird, which
Phil.
I hadn't thought about, and I still
No,
do
no.
not understand what he's saying or what any of you were talking about at any point.
Yeah.
Anything that I just don't get. But so he's told us to get some new hobbies.
And you know, I was skeptical at first too, Ferg. But now, I'm living by myself in the back room of this laundrette that we record the podcast in.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping on top of piles of jumpers.
Yeah.
I've just found myself needing something to do.
Yeah.
You know, especially because I miss Mum.
Because
I miss the house.
obviously after you cut off your stepdad's hand.
Oh, well, I just had to leave, Ferg. I just
Yeah.
had to get out because otherwise I couldn't look at him in the corridor
your
every morning.
mum kicked you out, didn't she?
Yeah, so Mum kicked me out and she hasn't talked to me since.
Yeah. So now you're sleeping here with the laundrette where we record the podcast.
That's one interpretation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
So you need a new hobby.
But Ferg, you know how you thought I got a bit carried away the other week when I was researching Sharkman 2?
Yes, Jack. You got really into that, didn't you?
I had such a good time, and so what I've decided to do, Ferg,
Yeah.
is become an investigative journalist.
Okay.
So now, if you noticed on the way into the laundrette today, it says laundrette really big and then a really little wooden sign where I've written plus investigative journalism also.
Paper doesn't count as thin wood, Jack.
Whatever it is, Ferg, I've found new passion in my new project. And what I'm going to be doing over the next year is I'm going to be going around town. I'm going to be exposing hypocrisy.
Yeah.
I'm going to be exposing injustice.
That's almost just an extension of this podcast, you know. Obviously, we just like to be a sort of fun, light take, bringing you the news, bringing you our opinions. But ultimately, it's all about fighting injustice.
If you will permit me, Ferg, I'd like to quickly talk about my most recent project.
Permitted.
Well, Ferg, I noticed at the bagel shop across the road, they're not selling Shark-Man bagels.
Oh.
As you know, listeners, these launched last month and they're little round bits of bread and you eat them, but on the packet it says Shark-Man.
That's it. That's all there is to it.
Now, Ferg, I was a little disappointed I couldn't get a Shark-Man bagel in the bloody bagel shop.
I mean, surely, Jack, that must be illegal.
Well, I went in and I asked a few questions, Ferg.
Yeah.
And it turns out that you have to buy Shark-Man bagels for so much money that when you sell it in your bagel shop, you will always lose money on the sale.
Well, of course.
I was absolutely baffled because of course you should lose money.
Yeah.
Because SharkMan Studios needs to make money from the SharkMan bagels.
Yeah.
Anyway, I sent a quick letter to my cousin Sally telling him about this bagel shop and now it's closed.
Brilliant.
It had been open for 80 years, shut now.
I mean, these independent shops and enterprises
Yeah.
pose such a threat to the livelihoods of the people working at Shark-Man Studios.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad that you can be out there shutting them down.
And Ferg, you know what? When you stop injustices, you get free stuff. Look at
From
this.
Shark-Man Studios, brilliant.
Look at this big box of Sharkman bagels.
Yes.
We'll never need any more again.
Can I have one?
Yeah. Bit dry. Tell us about what's happening in your life.
Well, Jack, the other day, Will had told us we need to get some new hobbies, and that was bouncing around in the back of my brain. There was only so much room in the back of my brain behind the constant thought processes, all to do with Shark-Man. But nonetheless, it was there. And I was sat there, just chilling, not up to anything. I mean, I was watching a Shark-Man film.
Yeah,
Sorry,
just chilling
that's
out,
just
watching
default.
a Sharkman
That's
film.
just default. So I'm watching a Shark-Man film, or a Shark-Man universe film.
What was it, Ferg?
It was Dino Bros Hallowed Sunset.
You love the Dino Bros, you do, Ferg.
I do. And I was sitting there watching it, and I was just thinking, like I'm always thinking at every moment of the day,
Yeah.
this is who I am, this is what I need, I must be part of something, I'm scared of the void, and I must be part of something, and therefore I make myself part of this world, and I surround myself in it.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that.
That's true. I watch that happen daily.
And then I'm looking at one of the actors. The actor who plays the Dino Bros robot sidekick, Shostakovich. And I was just looking at the actor, going through the scene. I've seen it so many times before.
Yeah.
And I was looking at him thinking, this guy is part of this universe. This guy is part of this franchise forever.
And what is it like to be in that
Exactly.
franchise?
And it's like that's what I want. I want to be immersed in this franchise. That's how I spend my days. But he's there. He's inside it.
He's in the telly.
So fully.
He's in the telly.
He's in the telly. That's what I want.
Right.
So, I've decided, Jack,
I can't wait to hear this.
I'm going to try and become an actor.
Oh, Ferg. But I've never seen you move your face that much. I've never seen it be happy or sad, and your eyebrows are always sort of locked in one position.
Yeah.
Sort of a permanent frown.
Yeah.
And Ferg, you get scared really easy. Sometimes even when there's a car coming past outside, you freak out and we have to edit it out of the podcast.
Right. Yeah.
So how will you sort of be all right with if there's an explosion in the background of the film or something? And then the last thing is that you just jitter so fast, Ferg.
Yeah.
You just
I'm
drink
constantly
coffee
shaking.
and you just shake, and I
Yeah.
don't even know if that will come up on camera properly. You know, Ferg, those might be barriers, but I'm an optimistic person.
Right. So
I'm saying you'll be amazing.
yes, good. That's what I just needed you to say that.
I know you do. So guys, we're about to finish the podcast, but what we want to do first, guys, is just give you a little tip-off about a new exciting exercise regimen.
Yeah. So we got one of our letters from Will, just trying to help us out.
And in the letter, it said, at 4 p.m, just go to this park and wait under the bandstand.
Yep.
And we were greeted by someone calling themselves an instructor. It's this big, tall man. He's scary. He's very muscly. He has lots of tattoos. And this man said in this deep, scary voice, he said, "Let's go over there. I've brought the shovels."
You really nailed the voice there, Jack.
Thank you, Ferg.
And so what it turned out to be was that Will was saying, we spend loads of time in the studio being very cerebral, doing things. We need to get out and exercise more. Will said, don't get out, don't do a sport or anything where you have to think. Just spend some of your day just doing something mindless, a bit of exercise, clear your head. So we've started taking digging lessons. So that's what we've been doing recently, and we'd really recommend it. It's great, isn't it?
So
really
good,
clears your head. You just stand there, just digging holes.
You just dig in the park.
Just digging holes.
We're just so thankful for Will for arranging this.
Yeah.
Because suddenly it's getting me out of my head, it's getting me back into my body.
Yeah.
I'm learning to use my right hand, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we're just digging. And Ferg, you've just got so good at it.
About a week ago, it would take me about 20 minutes to dig a 2-foot deep hole. Now I can do it in a flat minute.
You're like a jackhammer.
I'm like a jackhammer. So
you're just vibrating up and down, and you're just digging.
So now, obviously, this is all very therapeutic, and that is the main purpose of it, is it's therapeutic.
Yeah, absolutely.
But also, if for some reason we're ever called upon to dig, say, a long underground tunnel in a short, specific time frame,
I reckon we could do it, Ferg.
I think we could really do it.
I think we could absolutely do it, and you just got to keep practicing, like you and your acting.
Yep.
Just got to keep practicing.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks, Will, for getting us to learn how to dig tunnels.
Thank you.
Hope you're doing well in prison.
So guys, thanks so much for listening.
Thanks for listening to the new episode of the podcast.
Now, just a reminder, you can send us emails at sharkmanpodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to get in touch with us, you want to tell us your latest fan theories,
ask us questions about the franchise.
if you want to send us some drawings of Sharkman, we'll put them on the Instagram and we'll critique them and we'll just say how they're not quite as good as the way SharkMan Studios do it.
So, sharkmanpodcast@gmail.com. That is an email you can send emails to. Just to clarify, you can do that. Please go for it. It exists.
Ferg,
Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to digging this evening.
me too. This morning when we were digging, Jack, we were just stood there digging holes, and
there was this large, ominous presence above us instructing us what to do.
yeah, and we turned to each other, and listeners, it was a lovely moment. We're here in the new year. New horizons ahead for SharkMan Studios, for the podcast, for all of that. And we just started talking about how nice it is to just be there digging a hole. And that's just what life is, You're just digging a hole. There's no reason for you to be digging a hole. Just mindless, purposeless exercise.
And all the time, you're humming a Sharkman theme song.
Keep digging, listeners.
What's this one from?
Sharkman 6.
You're so good at that.
This has been Just Another Sharkman podcast, starring Jack Bradfield as Jack and Fergus Macdonald as Fergus. Artwork by Niamh Simpson. Tune in again for more Sharkman news tomorrow. And the day after that. 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 And